Hello and welcome to this here flight today. And today I want to talk about balancing the giving and the receiving. Um, so if you are into the laws of the universe, and spirituality in this sense, um, you probably know that in order to receive, you need first to start giving because the energy needs circulation. So that's the law of circulation. Um, and why is it that moms constantly give and still feel depleted as if we are not receiving that back? Um, like I was pondering on that a couple of months ago, and I couldn't imagine why would that be happening. Like the energy like circulating, and since I am giving, it should start coming back at some point. So the thing is that it depends on what energy are you giving from. So if you only give from the energy that I am tired, but they need me, so I have to force myself, push myself beyond the limits and give even more. If you do that from that energy, you step into the overwhelm and lack. And then you attract more overwhelm and lack because that's what you give from. You feel like you have no other choice, like you have to give because your kids need you. And if you don't give them, then they will be hungry, they will not be dressed, they won't have that, I don't know, bunch of autumn leaves for the school project, um, or the chestnuts, whatever they need to gather. Um, so you push yourself beyond your limits and you feel depleted. And from that depletion, you attract more depletion. So, how do we break that cycle to actually balance the giving and the receiving? So, it all starts in the head. And I know for some of you, it might sound like um, cliche, but it actually does work. So, you need to start giving from the feeling of overflow. So, first, let's do this exercise. Like, take a piece of paper or your journal and a pen and write down as many things as you can that you have a ridiculous amount of. It can be hair ties, it can be cat mugs, it can be candles. What is that thing that you have a ridiculous amount of? What do you have an abundance of? Now, the next thing, what do you feel you have, not material things, but what do you feel you have an abundance of, an overflow of, um already? It can be as simple as love. I have a lot of love from my kids. Of course I do. Sometimes it feels it's too much. That's the overflow. Like I can share my kids with with their grandparents. So they have a little bit of love from the kids too. Um, so I have an abundance of love. I have an abundance of what? Time? Not really. Maybe sometimes. I have an abundance of clothes to fold. But what does that mean? It means that my children have clean clothes to wear. I have an abundance of chores at home, but that means my family is taken care of. That's also a good thing. Um, so as I said, it might sometimes feel a bit cliche, some of those things, but when you think about it, what really changed for me, and I started looking at those statements in a very different way because at some point, like in the past, I also felt like, oh yeah, you're telling that because like it's a kind of toxic positivity thing. But it needs to start from within, not from the outside, not someone telling you, oh, you have so much of this, so much of that. Uh, go within and feel into what you have an abundance of and ask yourself whenever you feel like you have to. do something. So this is the second thing, the have-tos and shoulds, all those things that moms usually have loads of. We have loads of shoulds. When you feel like you have to do something, ask yourself if you really do. That's the one thing that changed my perspective totally. So I realized that I don't have to have a perfectly squeaky clean kitchen. I don't have to. I don't even have to load and start the dishwasher. I don't have to. But then when my kids come back from school, I will want to give them dinner. And if I don't have clean plates by that time, I will be upset because I will need to put that dinner on something. So I would either have to choose to wash them by hand, or I would have to, I don't know, buy disposable plates, or I will just give them the dinner, like, I don't know, maybe like chicken drumstick or something into their hands. I don't have to. I always have a choice. Some choices may seem ridiculous. That's why we feel that we don't have to. But I even don't have to cook the dinner tonight. I can order a delivery. We can go out, or I can get them to the grandma's and just ask the grandma to get them something. I always have a choice. I don't have to do anything. The only thing I have to do is to breathe and eat, because otherwise my body wouldn't be able to support me. So you don't have to do anything. Write down. So that was the second exercise. Write down as many things as you feel you should be doing as a mom, or you have to be doing every day as a mom. Write them down and ask yourself, do you really have to do them? What's the other choice? What are the other options? I don't even have to pick my kids up. I can ask my neighbor and just fill in those special documents from school that she's allowed to pick my kids up from school. And I can do that every other day. Like one day she picks my kid and her kids, and the other day I pick her kid and my kid. You never have to. You never have to. You can always have a choice. You don't even have to get out of your bed in the morning. And what would happen if you don't? Like when I imagine if I don't get up in the morning, my kid would come storming into my bedroom and well, they would want some things. They would want breakfast. They would want cuddles. And cuddles are fun. Like we can stay in bed and do some cuddles. But then we would eventually, I would want to get out of bed if my kids start jumping on it. But I don't have to. You don't have to do anything. Um, so that's, if you need more time, feel free to pause this video and write down more of those shoulds, what you should be doing, what your subconscious mind is telling you you should be doing, and there, rewrite them so that they don't have the word should in them. Write the other options that you actually have, because you don't have to do anything. And that's how I stepped into that feeling of joy, overflow, and abundance. Because I realized the greatest abundance I have is the freedom to decide what I am doing in every minute of my day. That allows me to make loving, aligned choices. That allows me to be more present, be more joyful with my kids. Our situation didn't change at all at first, but how I started showing up changed, and that changed the situation. So first of all, realize that you always have an abundance of something. Second of all, realize that you don't have to do anything. And then when you step into that feeling of overflow and abundance, start giving the things that you know you have a lot of. So write down one thing from the list that you made. What do you have an abundance of? And I don't mean hair ties. I mean like love. I mean time. I mean joy. Write down what you have an abundance of and one action, how you can start giving that. How can I start giving joy? How can I start giving love from that space of abundance, not from the space of depletion? Because if you give from the space of depletion, that's your past habit. That's what we want to leave behind. If you give from the space of depletion, you will attract depletion. If you give from the space of abundance, you will attract abundance. And now, what is the thing you want to attract? So we know we have a lot of love, so we want to give that love from the place of abundance of love, overflow of love. And now, what we want to attract? What is that one thing you want more in your life? Support, care for yourself. What else can it be? Financial abundance. And now, what's one action? Now, this will feel counterintuitive if you never did it, but this is actually the law of circulation at work. If you want to attract more support, how can you start supporting someone else? It might be that neighbor who has a kid around your kid's age, and you can swap. Like she may drop her kid at your place on one day, and then you can drop your kids in her place on another day, or you can ask that pickup thing. Like you can pick your kids up every other day and just arrange with her to swap roles. That way you support her too. That's how we create those villages, because this village right now in our society, it's difficult to see it because we've been trained not to ask for help. But when we start reaching out to support others, support will come back, like with those swaps with the neighbor. Now, if you want more financial abundance, how can you support someone financially, even if it's just one penny? And give it from the place of abundance, not that, okay, I need this money, but I will give it because it will come back to me. This is not giving from abundance. This is making a transaction with the universe. It doesn't work that way. But if you feel like, okay, this one pen or £1, $1, whatever you have, this $1 isn't much for me, but it will be a lot for that person. So I will give it to that person because they need it right now. Do it from that space. So write down what is that one thing you want to attract more and how can you start giving it today? And then there's one more step. There's one more step. I need you to actually get into the receiving mode. So just feel good about it. Just feel good about yourself. Just allow yourself to feel that love of the universe. Meditate. Go for a walk. Cuddle with your kids. Do something that allows you to feel that love of the universe. One thing, so this is the third thing I want you to write down. How are you going to raise your vibration? How are you going to allow yourself to receive? How are you going to feel that love? So These three things. First, you need to get into that feeling of abundance and overflow. And you can do that in two ways. The first one was um, realizing that you always have an abundance of something. If you don't have time, what do you have instead of that? If you don't have space, what is taking up that space? Then you have things. So you always have an abundance of something. Second tool is rewriting the shoulds into choices. Then the second step is giving from the space of overflow, what you already have an abundance of and what you want to attract, that you can realize that you actually already have it. And then you attract more of that. And the third step, get into the receiving mode. Just feel good, feel great. Let me know under this video how it felt for you. Does it resonate? And which actions are you going to take? Those three actions. What are you going to give from the state of overflow? What are you going to give that you want more of? And how are you going to raise your vibration to get into the receiving mode? Thank you so much for watching this video and see you Thursday or next week.